everybody, Trey here. I've got a lot of questions in the webinar about why do I save all my files as PSDs if eventually I'm just going to turn them into JPEGs anyway. Well, here's kind of my explanation, and then I'll show you exactly how I do the final conversion to JPEG. The basic reason is that as I am creating the photos, I'm in Photomatix. I process the photos, I build something finally in Photoshop to clean it up, and then I save it as a PSD. And I do this kind of again and again and again, photo after photo after photo. And so at the end of the night or at the end of a session, I have a folder called PSD that is full of all these things that I've completed, okay? And I do save them as PSDs also along the way because I know that sometimes Photoshop crashes. Sometimes I save it with a bunch of layers while I'm in the middle of working on something. Eventually I flatten it all down to one layer and I save it as a PSD. So that's kind of my working thing. I could, of course, go into Photoshop and do save as JPEG for each one, but that actually takes kind of a little while. This is just part of my workflow. So at the end of it, I end up with this directory, this PSDs directory that's full of a ton of different images from recent shoots or whatever I happen to be doing. So then what I'll do to process them all at the same time is I go to Photoshop, File, Scripts, Image Processor. You can also do this within Adobe Bridge as well. Uh-oh. Well, this happens every now and then, doesn't it? I don't know why. But sometimes restarting Photoshop seems to help. See how fast that loads up? It's great having an SSD. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this again, Image Processor. I already have this folder selected. I save in the same location. I save it as a JPEG, quality 12, maximum size, and I say run. Then what it does is it opens every one of those huge PSDs up, and then it saves them as a JPEG. And it's going to put them inside a directory here. It's going to make a JPEG directory. Here it is right here. And as I open this up, you'll see that it's going to start loading in images as they are processed. And sometimes they are, everything from a black and white version to something that's in color. Like this is something that I worked on in the webinar with everybody. And then, of course, while I've been doing the webinar, I've been processing other photos as well. Like this one. This is actually the first time I've gone through finally converting it to a JPEG. This is of the Space Shuttle launch. And then also I have some other ones, of course, that I do ahead of time that I haven't yet published. Just interesting things from around the Space Shuttle, like this news guy preparing 18 minutes before the launch. And then we have some other ones here that are kind of interesting that I haven't even published yet. But you get the idea. So now all the JPEGs are done, and then I will select them all with Control A. You can also go to Edit, Select All, and then I simply drag them into iPhoto. And iPhoto is kind of the final resting place for all of my photos, for my portfolio pieces, just because I like how fast it is. It integrates so easily with my iPad. And of course, I do use Lightroom to keep track of most everything. But I find that if I also put my portfolio pieces in there, that Lightroom gets a little bit bogged down. Also, I have my Lightroom archive spread across all kinds of different directories. Okay, well that should explain all this for you, I hope, and I hope that was helpful.